In global politics, every move on the chessboard matters, and India has just played one of its boldest moves yet. By hosting the Foreign Minister of Afghanistan in New Delhi and reopening its embassy in Kabul, India has quietly re-entered a strategic battlefield that has defined the fate of South Asia for decades. This single diplomatic event may reshape the balance of power not just between India and Pakistan but across the entire region from Beijing to Washington. For years, India maintained a low profile in Afghanistan after the Taliban takeover in 2021. But now, New Delhi has returned diplomatically, economically, and symbolically. By hosting Afghanistan's Foreign Minister Maulavi Amir Khan Muttaqi, India became the first major regional power to officially re-engage at this level. The result? A joint statement pledging cooperation in health, education, infrastructure, and humanitarian support. India is not sending troops, it's sending doctors, engineers, and investors. And that's the smarter form of power in today's world. This move gives India legitimacy, influence, and access in Kabul, three things Pakistan thought it had a monopoly over. Let's break it down. First, India is building a new image, a responsible power capable of stabilizing its neighborhood. This gives India soft power, the kind that wins long-term allies. Second, Afghanistan offers enormous potential for trade routes and mineral access. Lithium, copper, and rare earth elements, all essential for future technologies, lie beneath Afghan soil. For India, investing here means future-proofing its economy and reducing China's resource dominance. Third, India gains a strategic counterbalance to Pakistan. For decades, Islamabad shaped Afghan politics through security leverage. Now India's presence offers Kabul an alternative, and that changes the entire regional equation. Fourth, by proving it can work with the Taliban pragmatically without military presence, India sends a signal to the world it can do diplomacy where America failed. Here's where it gets bigger. India's re-entry into Afghanistan isn't just about its rivalry with Pakistan, it's about positioning itself against the two global giants, China and the United States. Let's start with the US. Washington's withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021 left a vacuum, and now rumors swirl about the US eyeing its old Bagram air base again. But every regional country, including India, China, Iran, and even Pakistan, opposes any new American military footprint. So, by engaging Afghanistan directly, India is asserting regional leadership, telling the US we can manage our backyard ourselves. It's quiet defiance, but powerful symbolism, especially as India continues to balance its partnerships with the West through the Quad and G20 while maintaining autonomy in foreign policy. Now, China wants stability in Afghanistan for its Belt and Road projects and mining ventures, but Beijing is cautious. It prefers control through Pakistan. India's sudden entry breaks that monopoly. A strong Indian footprint in Kabul means China will have to share influence and possibly compete economically. That's a subtle but serious challenge to Beijing's regional dominance. For Pakistan, the timing couldn't be worse. Just as Islamabad is dealing with border skirmishes, drone strikes inside Afghanistan, and the Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan TTP resurgence, India has entered the Afghan diplomatic game with open arms. Pakistan's traditional argument that only it understands Afghanistan no longer holds. Its influence is slipping as Kabul turns to India for aid and legitimacy. Even more critically, Pakistan's strikes inside Afghanistan have drawn global criticism that undermines its image as a stabilizing force and makes India look like the mature, responsible player. The optics are powerful. Pakistan is bombing Afghan soil. India is building hospitals there. From Kabul's perspective, this is a game of survival. The Taliban government needs legitimacy, aid, and investment. By embracing India, they gain an economic lifeline and a diplomatic bridge without giving in to Western preconditions. But it's also risky. They must balance India's friendship with their dependence on Pakistan and their growing trade with China. If they lean too much toward India, Pakistan could tighten borders or cut vital supplies. If they rely too much on China, India might withdraw humanitarian support. So, the Taliban's move is a balancing act, but one that clearly tilts toward India's favor right now. Let's look at the ripple effects. China wants Afghanistan's minerals and stability for its Belt and Road Initiative, but India's presence complicates that. Beijing must now coordinate with both Kabul and New Delhi. The United States, although publicly quiet, views India's growing regional role with mixed feelings. On one hand, Washington wants India to be strong against China. On the other, India's independent foreign policy, not always aligning with US interests, makes Washington uneasy. Russia and Iran quietly support India's engagement, seeing it as a stabilizing counterweight to US re-entry and Pakistani instability. So geopolitically, India has maneuvered itself into a sweet spot where it talks to everyone, offends no one directly, but quietly gains influence everywhere. Zoom out and you see a pattern. India is on a momentum wave. The G20 presidency, space breakthroughs, economic growth, and now strategic diplomacy in Afghanistan all show a nation maturing into a global power. This is India's smart rise, not through war or confrontation, but through diplomatic engineering and economic magnetism. By extending its reach in Afghanistan, India strengthens its continental presence. It's not just an Indo-Pacific player anymore, it's a Eurasian power. That shift challenges both China's continental vision and America's Pacific dominance, creating a third pole in world politics, a self-reliant, pragmatic, democratic India shaping its own global path. The next 12 months will be crucial. If India sustains aid projects, builds trade routes, and strengthens its mission in Kabul, it will permanently redefine the regional map. But challenges remain: security threats, rival pressure, and diplomatic balancing. Still, the message is clear: India is no longer a silent observer in regional conflicts, it's an architect of regional stability. In the new great game of Asia, the guns are quieter but the strategies are sharper. India's re-entry into Afghanistan marks not just a diplomatic visit, it marks the rebirth of a regional vision. A vision where influence is earned not by force but by partnership, presence, and purpose. India is not just playing the game anymore, it's starting to set the rules. Like, comment, and subscribe the channel.